financial services menu, option disclosure. Here's the deal. It doesn't matter what menu you use. We're going to focus on the Darwin menu right now. But it all starts with, before I print the final paperwork, I'd like to review the figures with you one more time. That's the transition statement into the menu. That's the one I've always used. You know, we can talk about the introduction, how you congratulate the customer. That's how you set the stage, lower the customer's apprehensions. Congratulations on purchasing a new car. My name's Gerry Gould. I'm the financial services manager. I'm the business manager. I'm the one who's going to transfer ownership over to you. You mind if I join you? Come on to my office and let's get this thing going. Once again, it really doesn't matter the type of menu you're using, but I think technology is really important today. Embrace the technology, and you got to be discretionary. And what I mean by that is, you have older couple in there and they carry a flip phone. They're not going to be as open to a digital presentation as the customer who comes in with the Apple Watch, the smartwatch, and the updated phone. You know, they're going to be really into the technology. So kind of be discretionary when using paper or the tablets or digital menus. With that said, before I print the final paper, I'd like to review the figures with you one more time. May I? Sure, go right ahead. So stop pitch slapping your customer. We talk about it all the time, all right? Our presentation, the presentation that we coach on, the presentation we train on, is very direct. It's very simple. Pays for this and pays for that. Service contract pays for mechanical electrical breakdowns. Tire and wheel pays for damage to your tires. Key replacement pays when your keys are inoperative. The only thing that protects the vehicle is fabric and paint treatment. Paintless dent removal pays to have a technician come out and remove dings or dents. Just keep it that simple. F&I awareness is really strong these days. Since the pandemic and people going online, F&I awareness has become really popular. A lot of websites now, a lot of dealer websites, a lot of even banks and credit union websites are offering F&I products, and they're giving pricing and details of what the products do. So F&I awareness is customers are very aware. So stop the pitch that you give a customer is nothing more than wearing them the hell out. So basically, stop with the verbal vomit. All right. Again, it doesn't matter the menu you're using, just stop with the verbal vomit. So as we move along, I like to categorize the coverages on a menu. And I've mentioned this a number of times: mechanical coverages, appearance coverage, and financial coverages. That's any cash, finance. A lease deal is a little different. You should still categorize the coverage, but keep this in mind. There's only one category of coverage when it comes to a lease, and that's financial coverage. It's my belief that every dime that customer puts into that vehicle on a lease only benefits the lease company or the next owner, period. But when presenting to a finance customer or a cash customer, there's essential and non-essential spending. The essential spending is the gas, the maintenance, the payment on the car, and the insurance. The non-essential is what you're looking at right now. And pertaining to a lease, they have the same essential spending, but everything else is non-essential. All right. So dual payments. How do payments make it a lot easier? Keep in mind your customers want these options. You can't deny the fact that they want them, but you have to embrace the fact that they don't want to pay for them. When they say they don't want them, they're not telling you an absolute truth. What they're saying is they don't want to pay for the products. And that's what you need to translate into when someone says, I don't want the product. You have to translate it to, I get it. You don't want to spend the extra money because you don't see enough value in the options. There may be another way of looking at it. You're currently at 60 months, all right? You're currently at 72 months. Let's see what we can do by extending the term. I'll give you an example. If you finance $23,000 at a 5.9% rate, $31,000 in additional voluntary protection products, that's what NADA likes us to call it, and you consider moving the customer from 84 months down to a 72 month, okay, that's a $45 difference. So in other words, if someone comes into your office at 84 months and you show them a 72-month payment and they say, look, I can afford the $45 and shorten the term, take a year off the payments, you just basically move that customer $45. So you can sell them $45 a product and get them back into an 84-month payment. I want you to keep that in mind. And the reason I bring that up is because a lot of F&I managers will tell me they don't want to extend the payment because they're already at 84 months. They have nowhere to go. Well, reduce the payment. Convince the customer to go to 72 months, and you've, in essence, you've moved them $45. But here's a little chart to show you the difference on what $3,100 would do if you were to take someone from one term to another term. Your base payment on 54 months is $486. It would move to $552 with the $3,100 of product. But if you take them out to 66 months, that reduces the payment to $464. They're actually saving themselves $20 a month and having $3,100 worth of product. So how important is dual payments on the menu? Extremely important. And the main thing behind the additional payments, the dual payments, is that it gives the customer another way to get into the products. So, you know, if you talk about basics, F&I basics, the fundamentals of an F&I menu, that's one of the fundamentals is dual payments. It's that simple. That's a fundamental of the F&I presentation, the menu presentation. So with that said, word tracks, transition statements. Before I print the final paperwork, I'd like to review the figures with you. There's a number of important documents. Let's start with this one. These are the figures you agree to. That's always the fundamental. These are the figures you agree to. May not be the best option for you. There's other options that are available to you to enhance your ownership or to enhance your lease experience. My job is to review them with you, may I, okay? If it's a lease, with the lease payment, you get a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty, 15,000-mile lease. This is your payment. You can take delivery of the payment, but there's options to enhance your lease and keep you away from non-essential spending. Let me explain what I mean. Boom, go right into it. So you always want to have a smooth transition into the menu, regardless of the situation, regardless of its subprime, regardless of the lease, cash, finance. That smooth transition, there's some of the, if you take a look at these word tracks, there's trigger words in there that grabs and holds the customer's attention and almost makes them have to listen to you. You know, that may I share them with you. You have a number of options that are available to you to enhance your ownership or lease experience. Those are all trigger words that get the customer interested in listening to what you have to offer or have available. So whether you use a 1-column, 2-column, 3-column, or 4-column, it all starts with the first column. And I believe that the first column should have every option that's available to the customer spelled out. I know there's bundles out there, but I think you should separate the bundles so that you have a clear explanation of what each product has, feature it, all right? Vehicle service contract pays for mechanical breakdowns. Tire wheel pays for damage to your tires. Prepaid maintenance is prepaid, so you don't have to worry about writing a check when you come in every 5,000 miles. They'll change the oil, top off the fluids, change the filter, do a 20-point vehicle inspection. Keys, if you ever lose, the keys become inoperable, they'll reprogram them, the keys. That's a big word, reprogram them, replace them, pay to have them repaired. Paintless fabric and paint treatment, paint and fabric will protect the vehicle against the elements. The paintless dent removal, they'll pay to have a technician go out and repair dings and dents. Theft will pay you up to $2,500 if the vehicle stolen, not recovered, deemed a total loss. And guaranteed asset protection. Stop with the, you know how guaranteed asset protection works, because they don't know how it works. Just tell them it pays the difference between insurance company settlement and what you owe. Now that I've exposed all the products to the customer and I have the dual payments on the bottom, I simply look at the customer and go, okay, so do you have any questions about the worry-free option? Why do I call that the worry-free? Doesn't matter if it says gold, purple, or platinum, doesn't say premium, whatever. I always point out that that first column is the worry-free option. Why? Because it has every option that's available to you, Mr. and Mrs. Jones. And then I go, any questions about the worry-free? And if they open up a dialogue with you, you're probably going to sell them a couple products. So you don't have to go through the remaining 2 or 3 columns or 4 columns. But if they say I don't have any questions, the next column would be the practical option. And that's where I would store the bundle. And I would explain to the customer that the practical option has all the same features except for financial coverages, the theft and the guaranteed asset protection. And you've basically taken away financial coverages, and they may want that afterwards. There's a method, there's a methodology behind what I'm presenting to you, because it triggers things in the customer's mind. By presenting the features only and saving the benefits for the end, you're actually allowing the customer to make decisions on their own. If you throw the verbal vomit out there, you're forcing the customer to make decisions that are somewhat painful because they feel like they're being talked into something. But if you just explain the features nonchalantly, this is what it does, they have time to think about past experiences. They have time to think about whether or not they're interested in it. And when you take things away from them, especially when you say financial coverages, they go, man, I want financial coverage, but keep going. Okay. So I would say this is the practical option. It has all the same features as the worry-free option, though you would forfeit the financial coverages, the theft and the gap. These would be your payment options. And I point to the bottom of the menu, dual payments. And then let me share with you the core option. And then I would just have the basic coverages because, excuse me, because this is a 3-column menu, I might add 3 options in the 3rd column and only 2 or 3 in the 4th column. But that would be my idea behind the menu. I want to give the customer the core option, which is basic coverage, and then move into a core plus option and maybe throw gap in there, guaranteed asset protection. Here's my take on guaranteed asset protection. That's a no-brainer, okay? That's something that you can sell off a disclosure at the end, off your final acceptance. So you can eliminate it from the menu. But that would be my finance menu, and all I would do is eliminate the gap on a cash menu. Going to a lease menu, and this is generally speaking, then we're going to get into the Darwin concept. This is the base payment of, it includes a 3-year, 36,000 miles, 36,000 miles of 36 months of full mechanical electrical breakdown coverage. There's a number of lease options to enhance your lease experience by limiting your exposure to those non-essential expenses. Now you're going to get the customer's attention. I don't understand. What do you mean non-essential expenses? Let me explain. Again, worry-free, excess wear and tear, mechanical gap, which is that component or that product that pays for all the things that factory warranty doesn't, such as fuses and lights and belts and hoses. They give you a battery, they give you a brake pad, some give front end alignment. Some of these programs offer $1,000 more miles. Some of them include extending service contract, extended the term of the warranty. But that would be the mechanical gap. Tire and wheel, prepaid maintenance. If you're offering gap because you're a Toyota land or it's a Huntington deal, you throw gap in there. And the same concept goes for the other 4 columns. So with that said, I'll open it up for any questions. Anybody have any questions before we move into the Darwin thing? I just want to kind of share with you my take on the menu. And what happens at the end, by the way?
I do have a question, Gerry. How fast should you present this to a customer when they come into your office? That word track you had 2 slides ago, pretty much to me, I read it as within 2 or 3 minutes, you've got a menu on the table. Is that correct or no?
You get 90 seconds of their attention, unless they're interested in a program and they ask you a question at the end of the 1st column. Then you basically, when you say, Damien, do you have any questions about what I just shared with you? And they say, yeah, tell me more about that gap, or tell me more about that service contract, or tell me more about that tire and wheel. You have permission to keep them longer in the conversation. But if you don't ask them at the end of that 1st column, do you have any questions? You just continually move on. You oftentimes will wear the customer out. And, you know, I've listened to a lot of, I'm getting really annoyed. I'll be honest with you. I'm getting really annoyed by a lot of these F&I trainers out there that are explaining that all they talk about is service contracts. I'm really serious about this. It's really getting to a point where I want to almost take each one of their videos and critique them. They all start with, let me go over the factory warranty. That's my job, is to go over the factory warranty. And let me tell you what it is, what it doesn't have, and what you should get. I think that is so ridiculous. People know what they have, and if they don't, it's not your job. It's a sales consultant's job. And number 2, you want to eliminate or reduce the number of times a customer says to you, can I think about it? Do I have to let you know now? Why pay for something I already have? You want to eliminate wearing customers out. You want to eliminate chargebacks because you forced the customer to buy a service contract. That's all you focused on. Then stop. Just go into the menu presentation. There's a number of options that are available to you. My job is to review them with you and treat every option the same way. Just tell them what it does. And then at the end, dig your heels in. I'm really surprised you had no interest in the vehicle service contract because you mentioned it earlier. And that's the other thing. If you're not doing introductions, you're not gathering information from your customer, you're not forming that connection, you're not maximizing your potential. You know, Damien, Steve, Limo, how many F&I managers do you have that bang their chest at $1,900 a car, $2,000 a car, and all they're selling is gap and service contracts, and they charge back to 25%?
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean? I'd rather
Yeah.
have an F&I manager that's running $1,300 to $1,500 and 7% chargebacks and happy CSI, and customers come back and buy it again. That's just the way it is. And I'm just tired of these F&I trainers and coaches out there telling everybody it all starts with the factory warranty. It doesn't start with it ends with the factory warranty. I can't stress that enough.
I have another question, Gerry.
Go ahead.
Okay, so with this menu process that we've learned in the past years, you've shown me something new today that's blowing my mind. So you go through the worry-free. Traditionally, we would go through the practical and then the core and then ask them to choose an option. What you're telling us here today is to go through the worry-free and then ask if they have any questions or ask them if they like anything to open up that conversation?
I'm saying, and I've always said this, you can look at every video we've ever done on the menu presentation. I've always said after the first column and after the last column, do you have any questions about the worry-free option before I move to the practical option? I've always said that. And if they say no, then at the end, I would say, do you have any questions about the options I just shared with you, regardless? So let's say, for an example, I said to the customer on this particular menu, I went through the products, tell them, don't sell them, excess wear and tear pays you up to $5,000 at lease end, mechanical gap will pay to have hoses, belts, fuses, lights, first oil change, first brake pads, first battery, over the course of your lease, the tire and wheel pays have. I go through it. Do you have any questions about the worry-free option before I move to the practical option? Yeah, could you tell me more about that mechanical gap? Yeah, basically what the mechanical gap does, Mr. Jones, is it covers all the components that the manufacturer doesn't, like those wear components such as belts, hoses. Some of those light bulbs can be really expensive. You know, those halogen headlights, those LCD headlights, you know, the fuses, if something were to go wrong with a fuse, they'll charge you to replace a fuse. And that might take an hour. This covers all that. In fact, this program will also give you up to $1,000 more at lease end. So you won't be charged the 25 cents a mile up to $1,000 over. Do you have any other questions? No. Okay, so let me move to the practical option then. Oh, wait a minute. I like that mechanical gap. I'll take that. What is it about the prepayment? Now, I can sell. But if it's just a conversation, then I continue on with the menu presentation. And at the end, now that I've shown you all the options that are available to you, Damien, do you have any questions about what I just shared with you? No.
Which
okay,
option
so
works best for you? Right.
Right, exactly. Which option works best for you? Does that answer your question?
It does.
Okay. So the bundle, all right. So we always talk about flow. Frank, good old Frank, he's the one who taught me flow. And that woman that was sitting there buying that Escalade looked just like her too. Consider this. You know, the bundle saves you money. You know, everything's bundled today. Cable TV, everything's bundled. So say the bundle. The nice thing about the practical option is it's a bundle. Though there's no financial coverages in there, you're saving yourself an additional amount of money on the other components because we put it in a bundle. Now, if you're using the Darwin driver's needs assessment where it only has 2 columns, I would start with the full column and then say, this is based on the information you share with me, this is the most practical option for you. And it includes a bundle to save you a little bit of money. Which option works best for you? Okay, so that's how, and I'm going to share that with you in a moment. But I think the word bundle, I think bringing flow into the picture, you know, flow, the bundle, the people will start to laugh because everybody knows flow. Okay, even Geico's getting on the bundle kick now. They're bringing the caveman back. Notice that?
Is there any way for me to change my wording in Darwin?
Yeah, you can contact Darwin and they can place anything you want on that menu. In fact, I just did it, Jason. I just did it with the guys out in Pittsburgh just the other day, yesterday. You just call them up and they'll do it while you're on the phone with them.
Okay.
Just tell them what you want. Just keep it simple. In fact, I'm going to show you a couple. Well, I am going to show you a couple menus actually that actually have very limited verbiage. I think you'll like them.
Do you feel like you see more success with the menuing at the time of sale or at the time of delivery?
Delivery, but
That's what I do now.
think,
But I kind of wanted to switch it up.
I think I have a pretty good example of if it's not a spot delivery and it's something that's coming in, you must pitch the client before they get to the showroom.
Yeah, that's exactly. I feel like right now we're doing delivery, but I kind of like want to like change our ways a little bit over here. And I was thinking possibly doing it at time of sale, but I wanted someone's opinion on it because we don't usually, menu at the time of sale.
I think it's important to go out and meet and greet a customer on an ordered car or anything on a locate. And if you feel it's appropriate at that time because of the relationship you just set with that customer, then by all means, go for it. I recall, Ashley, at times you had put a menu together that you would actually hand out to a customer on these ordered cars prior to them coming in. You had great success with that.
Yes, I still do that. But I'm talking about like a customer that, like, for example, bought a car today and he's picking up on Saturday.
Right.
Do you feel like me going through the whole thing at that time and like having them actually sit with me and not just handing them and telling them this is what we're going to be going over on Saturday? Do you think maybe doing it all at that time and having him agree to something at that time?
I think it'd be fine to do, having them agree to do it at that time and just reinforce it when they come in on Saturday. That's fine. I mean, once again, you gotta kind of use it, you gotta kind of feel them out. I mean, if you feel really comfortable going after it, go ahead. John, I like what you said. I prefer, and again, because of F&I awareness today, it's a different approach. I think approaching a customer on an ordered car and going through the menu process with them is okay now because a lot of people are aware of what's going to take place. And to save it for later, they might be saying, because why didn't you let me know before?
It's the appreciation of the efficiency. I believe that the customer appreciates being able to make the decision when they're not in an office, where they don't feel obligated to do so. They look at it more objectively. You're saving them time when they get into the showroom that they've already discussed this. At this point, it's just signing out on the deal. I think there's a particular customer that may do too much research if you give them information up front, but that's where the meet and greet in the showroom happens, and you identify, is this somebody they should probably speak to when they're here to pick up the car? But I think a lot of your clientele, certainly in the Cadillac forum, somebody has taught me by using this menu presentation via email that it's really effective, more effective on cash deals than I've ever seen. So for the cash buyer that's going to go collect a check, it's essential that you present these things so they come in with an itemized amount with the products included. Nothing more difficult than trying to get someone else that just took $60,000 out of his account to pony up another $4,000 for protection on a VSC. It's a difficult close.
I don't disagree with you at all, John, because what I'm hearing in the industry journals that I've been reading, the F&I awareness, the more the customer knows about F&I, the more you're selling. So I think, what John just said plays off of what I just said. You don't have to be cautious about it, but you have to be alert as to the type of customer you have in front of you. Is this guy, this person, this customer, these customers, are they really apprehensive? Should I wait, or should I just throw it out there at them because I've got a really good rapport with them, or it's a previous customer? So yeah, I think it's just a matter of being alert to the circumstances.
Okay.
Well said.
All right. So as you can see, this is the Darwin menu. This is the reason I shared this menu with you. You notice that the fourth column is empty. Because with Darwin, you can actually take and move these things. And I have many F&I managers that are showing this, going through this, again, moving the bundle into the second column. I don't have the names of the columns up there, the names of the dealership, but you can see dual payments, everything. But what they do is they say that last column is the shopping cart, okay? And what you're able to do is take the products that you're most interested in, move into the shopping cart, and it'll give you a payment down at the bottom. So while I'm printing some of the paperwork, why don't you take a look at what you're most interested in? And one of the nice features about the Darwin menu is that you're seeing what the customer's moving on your screen while they're doing it on the tablet. So Damien, you can share that with us once I turn this over to you in just a few slides.
Cool.
All right. But I just wanted to share this with you, make that fourth column empty and call it the shopping cart, and you can move these products into the shopping cart, what you're most interested in. What flavor do you want today? And then you go right into the 2-column menu. As I mentioned, I would start with the worry-free. And again, if you notice, take a moment, Ashley, or those of you on this webinar. The program vehicle service contract, as you can see, it pays for all covered mechanical electrical breakdowns for the entire contract term. And you're telling the customer it's a 60-month term. If you notice, here's the key. I'm going to go back one too. If you notice, there's no prices on this menu. The only thing you're going to see on this menu is the base payment and the difference between the base payment and what all those options cost. It's the same on the 2-column menu. If you notice, there's no payments there, but there's a brief description, a telling feature-only description of each product, and then the terms of each product. So for the next 5 years, your vehicle will be covered for up to 100,000 miles. For the next 5 years, the keys will be covered. For the next 5 years, the tires will be covered. For the next 5 years, the interior, exterior, and dings and dents, and your windshield will be covered. And it has the dual payments, 72 months and 84 months. So I would start with the worry-free column and say, based on the information you shared with us during the survey, this is what the analytics advise you to purchase. Or this is your driver's needs analysis, however you want to word it. And then boom, take the knee-jerk response out of it. Do you have any questions about what I just shared with you before I ask you to choose an option? Which option works best for you? And then the customer says none. 70% of the time. Looks like his brother. Well, they just don't want to spend the extra money. I understand these options aren't for everybody. What I found is folks who choose not to enroll, they just don't want to spend the extra money. They don't see enough value. Isn't that how you feel? Drive it to the money, okay? Always drive it to the money. I realize these options aren't for everybody. I'm surprised you had no interest in the options based on the information you shared with me earlier. It's that you don't see enough value, enough value, enough value. I keep stressing that. It's not any value, it's enough value. I recently had a debate, not a debate, but almost an argument. It's like that I was reviewing an F&I manager's presentation, and he says, what's the matter? You don't see any value? And I said, no, I don't see any value. And he kept saying, what, you don't see any value? You don't see any value? And I kept saying, it's enough value, it's enough value, it's enough value. He gets really pissed off at me. And finally, I just said to him, look, stop saying enough value. So that was in December 15th. He was at $900 a car. Today, right now, he's at $1,600 a car. What did you change? I don't say any value anymore. I say enough value. So which one do you see some value in? Boom. That's the difference. Words mean everything. So drive it to the money. Don't get furious, get curious. I'm curious. Most of my customers do see value. They just don't see enough value to spend the extra money. I'm surprised you had no interest in the program. I found that it's because you don't see enough value. What is it about the products, or what is it about the options that concern you? What do you see the most value in? What do you see the least value in? So on and so forth. With that said, write it down, illustrate it. Take the customer selection. They say, let me go back one. I found the reason they don't see enough value. If money weren't an issue with you, which 2 options would you select? Well, let's take a look at the service contract and gap. Write it down, illustrate it, show them the 2 dual payments. At the end of the day, which option works best for you now? I'll take a service contract. That's all I want, okay? And then take a second shot at them on the accept decline form. That's it. And if you notice on the accept decline form, I had no payments. This is really important. I had no pricing on the menus, but I had the pricing on the decline form, monthly pricing, not daily. Daily's a little bit too convoluted, but it would cost you an additional $12 for the tire and wheel, an additional $5 for the theft alert, You selected the service contract. That's great. So that's how I would do the menu. So Damien, it's all yours, baby.
Okay, we are going to just look at Darwin quickly to show a few tools that you can access that are not apparent.
Michael Boris is on the webinar.
Oh, good. Who's Michael Boris?
Michael Boris in New Jersey. I used to, years ago, he was my first client when I went on my own. My very first client. In fact, I'm looking at the check he wrote me. It's on my wall right in front of me. It's an inspiration. It's right in front of me. The very first check I got, Gerry, Gould and Associates. Very first one.
So it's like coming full circle for you.
I won't tell you how much the check's for, but it's the first one. It's right. It's right. It's right in front of me, right on my Michael Boris.
Okay.
He's probably smiling right now.
Yes. All right. Hold on one second, Gerry.
I'm holding on. You have my attention, Damien.
All right. Can you see my screen, Gerry?
I can.
All right. So just a couple of quick tools that we can use.
Go ahead.
A couple of quick tools that we can use in Darwin that can make the presentation, the menu pretty quick. Once you have your deal loaded, you've got everything rated, and it's time to produce a menu, one of the tips that we have seen be very effective is right here where it says Smart Package, you can click. If you have this feature turned on with Darwin, it's called the toggle feature. You can click this to make it a 4-column or a 3-column menu. So exactly what you said, Gerry, if you're going to create your menu to have the worry-free not include the bundle, you can toggle off the package, include the VSC, include the gap. You toggle on the package here in the option 2. Make sure that that there's no duplicate coverage for key or tire, and you can remove all products for the 4th column. And what this will do is, yeah.
How do I get this? I can't do this
I
on
have
mine.
the toggle feature. That's my point too.
You can. You just call Darwin and ask to have the toggle feature turned on. And so what that will do,
Toggle.
correct, it's called the toggle feature. So again, let me just quickly run through it. Once you have everything rated, right here where it says Smart Package, if the toggle feature is turned on and you click Smart Package, you can then make a 4-column menu. I'm going to show you what it looks like. In less than 30 seconds, you can make it become a 3-column menu. Again, make sure there's no duplicate coverage and click Print Sales Tool. And what that will do is, let's watch it real quick. Here we go. Boom. And so there's your 3-column menu that you have. Wow. And on this particular menu, we do have daily, and I'll show you how to do that too. It's another tip that I wanted to review. But you've got everything in total coverage. You've got your bundle here, and then you've got your option 3. So you've made a 4-column menu standard. You've made it into a 3-column menu, and you can customize it very, very quickly. And back to Darwin, here as well, if you have this set up where you can change between monthly, bi-weekly, weekly, semi-monthly, or daily, or you can just list the price. So depending on how you want to present your menu, you can do that. And like Gerry said, to change the names of the menu titles, call Darwin and they can put in anything that you want. And
how do you shut off the pricing like Gerry's menu?
You have to call Darwin.
I can show you that if you'd like.
Okay. Yeah, I'll give that back to you in just 1 second. There's just a couple more things that I wanted to run through as far as Darwin. So again, to generate that quick menu, customize it depending on the columns that you want. Click on Smart Package. As we know, once the interview is complete, the analytics, they provide all of the answers to the analytics here. And Darwin's pretty neat because it tells you the likelihood, a percentage, a score rather, of this particular customer purchasing a gap or an extra care or a VSC, right? And then it also looks at similar customers, the likelihood of the products that they purchase. So again, when it's time to ask them for a question and then use a transition statement, it's really important to look at the analytics. It can help in that conversation of creating rebuttals and having conversations with customers. And then lastly, which is an underutilized feature of Darwin in my experience, is the sales tools.
My experience as well, Damon.
So these sales tools, Darwin has them standard. You can also load up anything that you want, which we've worked with dealers to do before. So again, if you wanted to just print something out really quick, you wanted to print out an auto care, a gap form, a limited warranty form, a final acceptance, and let's say the smart package that we created, click on those things and just print selected. And in less than 10 seconds, you've got all those sales tools, which is materials that can aid in your selling and presenting facts to the customer, plus your menu, plus your final acceptance, and you've got it all right here in the blink of an eye. And these are, here's your final acceptance. Here's your, Edmunds, Gap, value proposition, and just additional sales tools. So
no, that's really cool. I really like the toggle feature. So turn it back over to me. I'll share my screen with you. I'll show you a digital menu and how to utilize that. Now we've had great success with that column, that fourth column I mentioned to you. So this is what I have. Everybody can see this, I'm sure.
Yep, I see it.
All right, so what I'll do is I'll go into up here, deals, and go to mobile device, desktop, and then the 4-column menu. So this is one of my clients, obviously. Let's give it a minute. So what you see here is you see the menu. I'm gonna go full screen. And what you can do is, before you show the customer, this is actually what the customer is going to see on the tablet. You can remove these items. So what I would do is, the Wham difference is actually the bundle product. So what I'm going to do is, in the second column, I'm just going to have Gap and the Wham difference. Okay, that would be the bundle. You with me so far?
Yep.
And then what I can do here is, I can eliminate this in the fourth column. This is before I even present, huh?
That's the shopping cart that you're creating?
Yeah, I'm creating a shopping cart for the customer.
But how do you get it with no prices? Did you have to set that up?
I'm going to show that. I'll show that in a moment, okay? I'll show that in a moment. So what I would do is, I would take this out and just do the core, which would be this vehicle service contract and Gap. So this would be what the customer would be looking at. And I would do this menu presentation, the feature presentation. And then I would say to the customer, this driver needs analysis. I refer to that as the shopping cart, because you can actually, and I show them how they can move things over there. Okay?
That's pretty cool.
And as they're moving the things over there, I'm seeing everything they're doing. This is what they're most interested in. So I can look at the customer and say, okay, let's see what you selected in the shopping cart. All right, so you've selected the theft avert and the Wham difference extension of the program. That's awesome. So if you chose 72 months, your payment would be $696. If you chose 84 months, your payment would be $624. So that's how that works. And they can, they can be playing with this while you're printing paperwork. They can move stuff around. So we think that's pretty cool.
That is cool.
All right, so we can do that. And as far as
column name changes, right, you have to call Darwin for that, right?
No, yeah. Well, see what it says right here? Remove. See, can you see my mouse?
I do.
Remove CPP.
Oh, I see that. I see that. It's on mine too. I see that little that on mine too. So yeah, so that's available.
That is remove customer payment purchase price. Remove customer purchase price. So what it does is, it takes the purchase price off of the main menu, but you can select whatever you select up here, monthly, daily, bi-weekly, would be on the final acceptance. Watch.
Wow.
So that same thing I just shared with, that same menu I just shared with you, this would be the final acceptance. It would have the monthly payments.
That's pretty baller.
There it is right there. See, but that has the total because I don't have monthly. I have total payment. List
I don't know,
price.
mine's weird because I'm menuing mine right now and I shut off my remove CPP from sales tool. And when I do a 4-column package, like the 4-column menu, it's showing my monthly amount on it.
There's two modes. There's a static mode, or there's the mode that both of these presentations are in, which allows you to manipulate the menu in a more format based, like in other words, if you're using iPad or if you want to create different columns, yours is set up as a static. So it's just a matter of telling Darwin, I want to be able to manipulate a menu on the go. I want to not show the product cost, but when I resort to my final acceptance, I want to be able to say, are you sure for $39, a month, or for $6 a day, you don't want to enroll in the VSC contract? It gives you the ability at that point to see the daily. Obviously, you break it down to as little as possible to make it sound foolish for the customer not to enroll.
Got it. I'm gonna call Darwin after this and have him set all this up.
Yeah.
Cool.
And you do not have the toggle feature on, Gerry. It's just a call for this particular store, and you can toggle on and off.
I'm definitely, Jason, you're online here, so make sure that you have Mike call and get that toggle feature.
There is a nuance where if it's toggle, you can't move, and if you want to move, it can't toggle. So you've got to pick that balance that works for your store and your way you present.
So if you have a toggle switch, you can't move them. I think they mentioned that to us before.
We've run into this before. So depending upon what's more comfortable for you to present, you want to make sure you're in that mode.
Okay, I got you. That makes sense.
I have a question. The group that I'm with, we really like to use the one column payment options menu, and I just wanted your guys' thoughts on that as well. I like it because you can put terms 60, 72, 84. It's one column. The only downside from what I see with that is you do have to be a good salesman and be able to bob and weave because you're showing all products in one line.
Yep. Sometimes it can be overwhelming.
So online, you're showing individual products, right?
It ends up, if you pull up a payment options, it's one whole menu. It's basically a one column menu, and it shows all the payment terms at the bottom with different monies down.
Can you pull that up, Damien, by any chance?
In Darwin?
Yeah. Is it in
It
Darwin?
would be the
Payment options. I am not familiar with the.
Oh, I see it. Okay,
options.
Yeah, payment
I have an
options.
idea what you're talking
It's on yours. Yeah. It's
ours
on yours.
does
Let
not
me
list price on there at all either.
let me check it out. Let me pull it up real quick and see if it does. Hold on. Let me take controls. Stand by.
because I'll give you an idea of what my thought on it. I've
All
seen
right,
it before. I know what
right
you're
here
talking
is
about.
payment options. Right. So we're looking at payment options. Let's click on it. And let's see what it looks like.
You do have to build the rate in monthly payment terms at the bottom.
Yeah, but that's all right. I just want, okay, so this is what you,
You have to green check the products you want to display.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah, let me do that real quick. Slight. All right. So let's say that we want all the products.
you're good at that, baby.
All right. Payment options. Let's see what it looks. Let's see what it looks like.
For the low price of.
Yeah.
Yeah, the low
Sticker shock. Sticker shock.
No. There's no pricing. This is true. So this is what you're using. All right. So here's where this is what we're looking at. We're looking at a menu that's got the disclosure, right, with all of the options and no pricing. Just a snippet of the benefit in the term.
You don't have a base payment here?
No base payment here. No.
It shows it in the box. It should at least.
Yeah, there it is, right there. 405 payment without coverage. So your base payment, this is your base payment, Mr. and Mrs. Jones. These are all the options that are available to you. What the Toyota Guaranteed Asset Protection does, Toyota Extra Kit does, all that you'd explain the programs, and then you basically, what I would say is you have three options that you can choose from. So go down to the payments now. There's a 60-month term with $1,000 down, you only have one, it's only 60 months. You don't show dual payments. Or can you show dual payments, Jared?
Yeah, you could go all the way up 72.84. It shows 3 payment blocks.
But can you show 2 or 3 payment terms?
Keep scrolling down.
Oh, I see. Here you go. There they are right here.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I don't mind that menu at all. I mean, what you're doing is you're exposing all the products to the customer. That's just like presenting the first column on the menus that I shared with you and saying, you have any questions? So there's a
I
number
think
of options to enhance your ownership experience, Jared. I'm going to go over them with you. These are the options that are available to you. I want you to know you can take delivery of the base payment. This is your base payment. But with these options, this would be your payment. Which option works best for you? I have no problem with that.
Let's see what it
let
looks
me
like.
ask you, do you
Yeah,
use this?
here it is. 60, 72, 84. Yeah, so if you
Yeah.
make that change, you've got it.
Well, how much would
Some,
it be with no money down? Oh, let me show you. Right?
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
pretty cool.
We have a
It's
lot of
something
success
I've
with
never.
that on retail.
No, I like it. I like it. I'm just used to all the years I've been doing it, Jared. Is the 3-column, 2-column menu. I've seen that before, but now that you brought it to light, it's a great training tool. I mean, I see nothing wrong with it. It's basically the first column on your menu.
Yeah, the only downside is with newer business managers, you got to become good at being able to duck and weave. You got to be able to move off of some products and find the value and keep going around. It's when you got a 2-column, it's easy to say this or this. This way, you're going for it all right out the gate, and you got to be able to maneuver.
Well,
this
let
is
me share something. Let me share a
Good.
thought with
I
a
like
number
this.
a number of these administrators. They hand you brochures, they hand you placemats, right? And you can
Yeah.
bundle these products. So what you could say to a customer, there may be an easier way to get into some of these options that you're interested in. Let me share with you a bundle. And then you take one of those placemats and say, look, along with the Toyota Care, you can enroll in this bundle and it's going to save you some money. Let me show you how that looks. So I think if you
Yeah.
use the tools that the administrators give you along, because the whole thing on the menu, years ago when I first started with it was a flip chart with David Lewis. Then I went to the menu with AutoNation. And there was so many different theories running through my head, and so many people told me all these different theories. And then I finally realized, not too long ago when I probably went on my own, is that it doesn't matter. As an F&I manager, I just want to get the products out to them. Like you're saying, just get them out there and let's have a discussion.
Yeah.
And let's sell them something. And I think that's what you mean by bobbing and weaving. And you're right. Some of these new F&I managers are just used to being able to go from column to column and say, which column do you select, and then, oh, you only want the service contract? Okay, let's do that. But a tenured
Have
guy,
to
that
hit them
tenured
with
guy's
then
going
go
to
with
go
the
in there
final
and grab it
steps.
all. No, that makes a lot of sense. I like that, actually.
That's pretty good. I really like that as well.
how do you present that menu? Is that on a specific customer that's on a shorter term and you're showing them options for product in a longer term? You've got to obviously build in the interest rate and term, correct?
So I always I train to do delivery TOs because in New York, most of our customers get a day in between. So we meet the customer up front, get a feel, get an understanding, do our survey, build our menu, get the approval, and then I have term options from the banks I'm using. So what's the
Beautiful.
rate at 60, 66, 72? That way I don't have to call a bank after I'm done. I can just deliver it, contract it, I'm done. We're good
Is
to
your
go.
desk delivering term and payment on every deal?
Yeah, they use their own payment. So say it was a 48-month incentivized rate from Honda or Toyota. So then I'm looking up what's the rate at 60 and 72. And I tell people, even if it goes from incentivized to standard, offer it. Just offer the rate. It doesn't make a difference. If we're moving off this, the rate's going to be a little higher at the end of the day. But hey, your payment's going to be lower and you're going to have all these options.
I think you found a really good menu for the niche of clientele and the way your desk works. With that being
Yeah.
said, that to me is very clear and concise. An analytic buyer is going to look at that and make a lot of sense out of it. If you've got a desk that's pencil 84 at buy rate just to get a deal, let's call it consummated to get into finance, it's a little bit more difficult. I think you got to look at the other side of the menu. But this is the point about all these variations of Darwin. You've got to make it what's
Yeah.
yours and how your store operates. And I think there's so much versatility that isn't looked at. This is a great exercise of what works for somebody, what doesn't work, what could I do if I had an option where a customer's at 60 months, he's married to a rate, I'm gonna have a hard time. They've given him an exact payment. I go through my presentation. This to me is an unbelievable close with that,
It,
where you're showing extended term with protection.
it does blow my mind the amount of times where I hear from a salesperson they need the 2.9.
Yeah.
I show payment options Next thing you know, we're at a standard rate, and they didn't care about it. And it's
Exactly
just,
right.
you know, you keep letting one thing go in one ear and out the other, and just present the same every time.
I used to tell my guys that the salesperson's not buying the car. Why are you asking them what they want? They have a perceived notion that the rate's important because they mentioned it and the customer's like, great, but it may not be the deciding factor. You've got to ask the right questions to understand what's important to the customer.
Very cool. This was very informative, Damien. Very informative webinar.
Yeah, I think so. I definitely learned something today. Thanks for sharing, Jared,
I
John.
know, I learned something today too. Thanks, Jared. That was very cool. I like that a lot. Appreciate it.
Yeah, toggle. I like that. Payment options. This is great. Great information. All right, Gerry, what else?
I think we go into we find some other F&I menu provider that we can do this with and make some money.
Well, the beauty of this too, I think, from at least our colleagues that are on the phone, is this is a recorded version. I think this is a great tool for Darwin. A lot of our stores use Darwin. I learned something new today, and I use Darwin every day. So definitely some good takeaways
Totally.
here.
And we should get this in front of our guys and have them cut and paste and stuff. I think it's great.
Very cool.
This is really, really, really informative. Really appreciate everybody's input. Michael Boris, I love you too, buddy. He sends me a text. Love you, Gerry. Love you too, man.
Go
All right,
get them.
guys.
Go get
Thank you,
them.
Gerry.
Steve
Go
used
get 'em,
that
baby.
today.